Mrs. Bay never thought there would come a day she'd have to face the woman who almost destroyed Huai Ka's life, Hung's mother. But fate had other plans, bringing the two women together again at the very house where so much pain once took place. The gate creaked softly as the familiar figure stepped in her eyes, filled with something unreadable, part guilt, part calculation. In her hand was an old cloth bag, heavy with secrets from the past. No one knows if she came to apologize or to finish what she started. Inside the house, Huai Ka has no idea what's waiting for her. A confrontation between guilt and forgiveness. Can compassion really heal the wounds left behind? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to catch this intense new episode. That afternoon, the wind from the fields blew cold and sharp. The sun was setting its faint light, filtering through the trees and casting long shadows across the dirt road leading to Huai Ka's small house. Dry leaves rustled under the slow steps of an old woman. Her eyes were clouded, yet still carried a cunning glint mixed with hesitation. It was Hung's mother. After months of quietly returning to the village, this was the first time she dared to step foot near Huai Ka's home, the place tied to the biggest sin of her life. The metal gate had been repainted, looking newer and brighter, but to her, it was still the line between a guilty past and an unforgivable present. She stood at the gate for a long time, her hand trembling as she touched the latch. The air was so still, it felt eerie. "Is she home?" she muttered. Cold sweat ran down her back. Her dry hands gripped the old cloth bag hanging at her side. Inside were a few bills, some pills, and an old photo of Hung as a child. She didn't even know why she brought it, only that if anything happened, she wanted to keep the one thing that still made her feel like a mother. The gate creaked open. She took a deep breath and stepped inside. The yard was quiet, only the sound of the wind and distant birds calling. No sign of Huai Ka, only a thin, tough-looking, middle-aged woman sat by the porch picking vegetables. It was Mrs. Bay, Huai Ka's mother. When she saw someone entering, Mrs. Bay looked up startled. The sunset lit Hung's mother's face, revealing every wrinkle, every shadow, making her look like a ghost from the past. "Who are you?" Mrs. Bay asked cautiously. Hung's mother stood still for a moment before replying softly, voice shaky, but trying to stay calm. "I'm Hung's mother." The air froze. Mrs. Bay dropped the basket in her hands, her eyes wide. In that instant, all the old memories rushed back. The terrible day her daughter almost died, the whispers around the village that it was Hung's own mother behind it all. Her voice dropped low, filled with anger and contempt. "You still have the nerve to come here." Hung's mother lowered her head. She had prepared herself for this moment, but facing it still hurt deeply. "I didn't come to cause trouble. I just want to see Huai Ka once. I want to say I'm sorry." "Sorry?" Mrs. Bay laughed dryly. "Do you think an apology can bring back what you destroyed? My daughter almost died. My grandchild almost didn't make it into this world. And now you think a few words will fix that?" Her words cut like knives. Hung's mother didn't argue. She just kept her head down, shoulders trembling. "I know. I don't deserve forgiveness, but I truly want to see her. I want her to know I was wrong. I want to make things right, even just a little." "Make things right?" Mrs. Bay snapped her eyes sharp as blades. "With what?" with your late regrets, or with the dirty money you once used to hurt her. The air felt heavy. The wind picked up, blowing dust across the small yard, swirling around the two women, two mothers, one who lost her child to poverty and one who lost hers to her own wrongdoing. Mrs. Bay stood up, her voice cold. "Let me tell you something. Hoi Ka isn't home. She's out working, and maybe that's for the best. I don't want her seeing you. I don't want her reliving those nightmares." Hung's mother looked up, tears streaking down her wrinkled cheeks. "I don't want to hurt her again. I just want to say one thing. Even if she never forgives me, I'll accept that." Mrs. Bay looked at her silently. Inside, anger and pity tangled together. She knew what it was like to be a poor mother, to lose something precious. She knew the pain of being a parent who no longer had the right to be called mother. But Hung's mother's sin was too deep. Just seeing her again brought back the fear that her daughter might be hurt once more. "Leave," she finally said quietly. "If you still have a conscience, let my daughter live in peace." But Hung's mother didn't move. She fell to her knees, tears mixing with the dirt. "Mrs. Bay, please, just tell Hoi Ka I'm truly sorry. I have nothing left. I live with guilt every single day. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want her to know. I still feel pain." Her voice broke. Mrs. Bay looked down and saw those frail hands clutching her skirt like a scared child. After a moment, Mrs. Bay sighed. "Get up. I don't want the neighbors to see this and start gossiping." Hung's mother slowly stood, wiping her tears. "I'm sorry. Truly sorry. I just want to know, is she doing well?" Mrs. Bay looked away, speaking slowly. "She has a loving husband, a good child, and a peaceful home. And I don't want anyone, especially you, disturbing that peace again." Hearing that, Hung's mother pressed her lips together and nodded, her eyes red. "That's good. At least she has the life I could never give my own son." That made Mrs. Bay pause for a second. A small flicker of empathy passed through her. She could sense it. The regret was real. "You know," Hung's mother continued weakly, "every night I dream of that day. I see her falling. I see Hung running to her. I want to die, but I can't. Dying is easy. Living with that memory, that's the punishment. And I've lived it. Every single day." A gust of wind swept past them. Both women shivered. Mrs. Bay was quiet for a long time. Finally, she turned away and said softly, "Maybe you really do regret it. But regret doesn't mean forgiveness. You understand that, right?" Hung's mother nodded, tears still streaming. "I understand. I'm not asking to be forgiven. I just needed to know she's okay." Mrs. Bay looked at her one last time, her tone softer but still firm. "Then keep your word. Don't come back. Don't let my daughter live in fear again." Hung's mother nodded and stepped back. "Thank you. Thank you for telling me that. I'll go now. I promise." She turned and walked slowly down the dirt road. Her shadow stretched long under the fading light, frail, tired. Mrs. Bay watched her go, her heart heavy with a mix of anger, pity, and sorrow for a woman who had destroyed her own life. When the old woman's figure finally disappeared behind the trees, Mrs. Bay let out a sigh and whispered to herself, "Forgiveness belongs to heaven. As for me, I'll protect my child until my last breath." Dusk settled in. A thin layer of mist began to cover the bamboo along the road, and the chirping of crickets filled the air, a sign that a long night was coming. The local bus stopped at a small alley where the faint yellow light from Mrs. Bay's house spilled out. Huai Ka stepped off carrying a basket. She looked slender but quick on her feet. It had been a long, tiring workday, but her heart felt light that morning. She'd received good news. Tony was being moved up to the advanced speech therapy class. She smiled to herself, unaware that just a few hours earlier, Hung's mother, the woman who had once brought her so much pain, had stood before that very same gate, her hand resting on it as if she were touching the past. When Huai Ka walked into the yard, Mrs. Bay was sitting inside with a cup of tea that had already gone cold. The light fell softly on her face, calm on the surface, but her eyes seemed heavy as if she'd just been through something she couldn't shake off. "Mom, I'm home," Huai Ka said with a warm smile. Mrs. Bay flinched slightly, then forced a small smile. "You're back. I reheated the rice seed before it gets cold." Huai Ka set down her basket and hurried over to help her mother set the table. She talked cheerfully, telling stories about Tony's class, about how Hung planned to take the family on a trip that weekend. Mrs. Bay listened, nodded, smiled, but her eyes stayed distant. Now and then, Huai Ka noticed something off. "Mom, are you okay? You look a little tired." "I'm fine," her mother replied quietly. "Maybe it's the weather. Feels like it's going to rain." Her voice was light, almost casual. Huai Ka didn't think much of it. She didn't know that the rain her mother mentioned wasn't real. It was the storm left behind from that afternoon's confrontation, the one between two mothers, one of which she had no idea had taken place. Dinner was calm and quiet. Only the soft clink of spoons, the wind at the window, and the smell of warm rice filling the small home. While eating, Huai Ka's face glowed as she said, "You know Mom Hung's changed a lot lately. He's calmer, more responsible, more caring. I'm really happy." Mrs. Bay nodded. "People make mistakes. Sometimes they find their way back. What matters is whether we can open our hearts to accept it." Huai Ka smiled, not realizing there was more behind her mother's words, as if she were reminding herself not her daughter. "And you, Mom, do you feel at peace now?" Huai Ka asked gently. Mrs. Bay smiled faintly, looking down at her bowl. "Yes, a little lighter now. I just hope things can stay peaceful like this." But she was hiding something. She feared that if her daughter found out Hung's mother had come, that the woman who once tried to kill her was still wandering nearby, all those old wounds would open again. That night, after Huai Ka fell asleep, Mrs. Bay sat alone on the porch. The moonlight fell faintly on the old tiles, drawing long streaks like threads of memory that refused to fade. She gazed toward the dirt road leading to the fields, the same road where Hung's mother had disappeared hours earlier. The image of that frail woman, her gray hair and trembling hands, wouldn't leave her mind. Deep down, Mrs. Bay knew the woman truly regretted what she'd done. But regret wasn't the same as forgiveness. How could she tell her daughter that the person who'd once tried to destroy her had come back kneeling at her feet? How could she protect her from reliving that pain? She took a deep breath and whispered to herself, "Let her stay at peace. I'll keep the past for her." The next morning, sunlight came early and soft. Huai Ka got up to make breakfast, smiling and chatting with her mother as usual. "Mom, I'm going by the old house today. It's been a while since I visited." Mrs. Bay stiffened. "What for?" "I just want to see how it looks now. I heard someone rented it and fixed it up." Mrs. Bay quickly set down her cup, her voice slightly tense. "Let it go, dear. The past is over. No point going back. Someone else lives there now. It's not our place anymore." Huai Ka looked puzzled, but nodded obediently. "Okay, Mom." Still, something about her mother's tone felt strange, like she was hiding something. That afternoon, while Huai Ka was at work, Mrs. Bay sat alone. A breeze drifted through, scattering some papers on the table. When she reached to pick them up, an old photo slipped out, a picture of Hung's mother and Hung when he was little. It was the same photo Hung's mother had left behind the day before, almost like a message. Mrs. Bay stared at it, a mix of pity, anger, and something softer twisting inside her chest. "She's still his mother," she murmured. "She did wrong, but she hurts too. And I'm a mother. I know what that pain feels like." She tucked the photo away in a drawer and locked it. No one needed to know, especially Huai Ka. Evening came. Huai Ka stopped by to buy some things for Tony. She called Hung, her voice bright and full of warmth. "Hey, let's take Tony out this weekend. I think he needs more time outdoors." "Yeah, I'm already planning it," Hung replied gently. "There's something I want to talk to you about too." She didn't know that on his end, Hung had just heard someone saw his mother wandering near the riverbank. He was torn between going to find her or staying silent to keep their peace. Maybe fate was preparing another confrontation, this time not between two mothers, but between a son and the woman he was ashamed to call his own. Night fell again. After putting Tony to bed, Huai Ka sat outside under the full moon. Its soft glow covered the garden in silver light, quiet and calm. She thought about the old days, the darkness, the hospital bed, the whispers about an accident she never dared to revisit. She thought she'd moved on, but sometimes even the sound of wind against the door made her chest tighten. She didn't know that the woman who had caused that pain had just returned, had stood only a few steps away, and left again in tears. Inside, Mrs. Bay watched her daughter from the doorway, her throat tightening. "God, please, don't ever let her find out," she whispered, knowing would only break her again. The next morning, sudden rain poured down. The smell of wet earth filled the air. Huai Ka hurried to take Tony to school. Mrs. Bay watched from the porch as her daughter disappeared into the rain, her small figure fading down the road. She sighed and murmured almost like a prayer, "There are things better left unknown. That's the only way to live in peace." Elsewhere in the village, people saw Hung's mother walking toward the sandhills, her old shirt soaked through by the rain. No one knew where she was going. Some children later said they heard her talking to herself. "Has that girl forgiven me yet?" No one answered. The rain washed away her footprints as if no one had ever returned, as if that meeting the day before had never happened. And Huai Ka, she went on living in love, believing the past had already healed. She didn't know that just beyond her gate, guilt and regret were still wandering in the dark, searching for a way home.